July the 23rd, 2022, 15 minutes after midnight, and I'm going to use following video, which is going to be in English language, to point out a shorter version of what you see I have done right here for the people in Slovenian language. As I stated, this is to be used as additional proofs of MK Ultra. People involved against me, and that's why this case is so difficult, go far beyond, let's say, Antonio Guterres of United Nations or World Health Organization boss Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. This is actually a joke that you see right there in front of you, that vacationed with the royals since 1995 on a frequent basis, at times even up to 2 months. Even this have happened. They have spent time together. Royals did travel to Portugal, and he traveled to many other locations with them. I am here in this case referring to the British royals, as you see right here in the picture. That's why I said it's a joke compared to this thing here. This is where the real problem is. This is what really made mockery. It in my case ridiculous. It made torture look ridiculous. It actually made torture in eyes of Eastern European sickos, maniacs, ex-Yugoslav Communist Party members. So for me to say, they had nothing to do with the communism, everything with the ethnic cleansing, extermination, which commenced openly upon separation of several republics from the Federation of Yugoslavia, which in fact was just a greater Chetnik, Serbian Chetnik state, which declared war at the same time on 4 other nations within the Federation. Exactly the same issue, exactly the same situation we witness today is taking place against Ukraine. I mean, I waste your time, but these are the people that made my case look ridiculous in eyes of this. I wouldn't even call them authoritarians. These people were installed in their positions with exactly purpose I have stated. And for them to receive this type of support, assistance to degree, when I was repeatedly hijacked, abducted, trafficked from United States of America straight back to Eastern Europe, in this case to Slovenia, in this house in Novo Mesto, and also redistributed throughout entire Eastern Europe, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, for nothing other than torture purposes, brainwash, talking about for the sake of Belgrade, for the sake of Serbia, for the sake of Russia, for the sake of Moscow. And I'm going to avoid that Hungary, because the Hungary has the least to do with it. But when it comes to Eastern Europe, as I stated, it was a very bad stuff that went on, and I'm just repulsed that every time I come across certain issue that was involved in MK Ultra, and there are extremely sensitive issues, such as in this case a leader, Alexander Todorovic, who was a leader of Deleted. The Deleted were people in Slovenia of which many were not issued proper documentation, state IDs, once the country declared its independence in 1991. That was due to some of these people, like this man right here that you see, who had nothing but disdain, hatred for our independence, for self-determination, for brazenness to say no anymore to extermination, systematic, psychiatric, prison, imprisonment, forced joblessness type of extermination. Finally, no to warplanes which drop bombs on the country, tanks which roared the streets, and many other people from other nations such as Croats, Bosniaks, probably Macedonians, whose right to apply, eventually to obtain newly issued state IDs, therefore enter national register of this newly established state in 1991, were simply abused by the Slovenian state. Just as I already explained, these are the same people that remain in control in Slovenia upon fall of Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was a greater Chetnik state. You just need to research about Chetnik, but it's the same ideology we see today again is resurfaced in Ukraine. Because of this, people, because of this, not only Slovenian but other Yugoslav, ex-Yugoslav nationalities, which I have stated, Croats, Bosnians, Macedonians, were discriminated against. There were cases that people did submitted their applications to obtain newly issued IDs, enter the state register, and the state discriminated against them on behalf of the people you see right here, so they could see themselves rather than in Slovenia with, I'm not gonna say this guy, but this was definitely a Serbian agent man who obtained orders straight from Serbia. At that time, these people ruled Balkans. They ended on International Tribunal for War Crimes. You're talking about, let's say, Serbian psychiatrist Karadzic, who was in charge personally for my case before Slovenian psychiatrists got a hold of me finally in 2013. There was 18 years of what you see right here before they, I'm talking about a Slovenian, this is Serb, you see right there, pronounced me as an insane. They engaged 18 years in most severe torture to finally obtain through the internet, and not even that is could be very much disputed, reasons to pronounce me as a paranoid schizophrenic, institutionalized me, and engaged in a real-time torture since. So what they would do is they would take advantage of those people and push them in the hands of this here that you see, that I presented you with. These are the people who ended up on international tribunals for war crimes. In this way they have assembled a larger group. Therefore they added to what you see here, which have expressed total disdain for our new homeland as independent country, and have used these people to engage in international scandal against newly established state of Slovenia. It's called the ERASED. 28 years later, these people that you see right here remained on power and have, for the cost of everything they had, continued to blemish, sabotage our judiciary, our legal system, with the idea to simply embarrass us throughout the world in front of the international institutions, international community, while at the same time engaging in a swift genocide, ethnic extermination of us natives in Slovenia. To put it plain, short and simple, what this case is all about. What you see right there are the natives, Slovenian natives. However, they remained obligated, loyal to ex-state which have fallen apart, with a single nation declaring war against other 4 smaller nations for the sake of ethnic cleansing, final solution, genocide, such as was in Srebrenica, Vukovar, and in Slovenia they also declared they will kill every one of us, delete us, wipe us from the face of the world. What is disappointing, however, I'm going to repeat to you, is that for every act of crime against me, because these are the people why I was brought from United States of America, I was brought here for the sake of commercial interests between Russia, foremost, or Russian Federation, economic trade in Eastern and Western Europe. I was distributed throughout the Western Europe, especially through the Britain as well. So those take advantage of Russian oil, minerals, or Russian oil mineral wealth, and in return, next to financial payments, next to military armament of Russia, they were also allowed to do just about absolutely everything with me. It was a lot of fellow Slovenes that perished from here, disappeared. Many were destroyed in the process. No news ever, however, reached the international community. It remained secret. All my attempts to contact United Nations, European Court for Human Rights, Amnesty International, fell short from anywhere. But did not fall short when these people here, the ERASED, requested their assistance. It's exactly contrary that took place. These organizations, of which number one was Amnesty International, expressed deep interest in them, while threatening to me to remain as good as dead in the future when complaining as an invisible. The owner of Amnesty International, the owner who prided himself as an owner of Amnesty International, and who also promised me nothing to ever come out of it, was no other than Princess Anne. I'm talking about the Canada here. That's another royal who did tremendous harm, tremendous damage, but did assisted them with, on every step of the way, with everything possible they could use. The following issue, which I'm about to trigger to you, that's also as a proof of MK Ultra. Brings on a picture a daughter of Alexander Todorovich. This is going to be just a really short video. I don't want to make no philosophy about it. And you can see it everywhere, all over the place, whichever way you like. This is a daughter who also was involved in a torture. I don't need to call this anymore MK Ultra, because this got nothing to do with MK Ultra is not a Candice. It's a torture. The question only is, when it comes to torture, just to what degree did torture gone? How far did the whole thing gone? And I have to say that her father was brutally violent. He was recorded by others as well. And it's what was stated to me. Well, official account has it that Alexander Todorovich, that's her father, Alexander Todorovich. This man here that you see, they found one dead in 2013. I don't know, it's published here in 2014. I don't know. I did not go by the chronological order. I'm picking up events from recorded memories. This man was involved in crime since 1995 in Slovenia on behalf of Serbia. He did brought me also to Serbia, where he had his sister in vicinity of Belgrade. I'm not sure whether that was Pančevo or not. That's already one credit you're gonna give me, because this is not what I should know. I should know any of this stuff. I was labeled, after all, as a paranoid schizophrenic, as a lunatic, as an insane. It was 28 years of my life that was destroyed, next to forced unemployment with numerous other issues. Finally, with a broken spine, used to substitute forced unemployment through employment in Poland. And even cancer issues, which I am experiencing since 2017. This man here, according to police account, was found dead. It appears here in 2014. I think it was already 2013, but it really doesn't make any difference here. (2014), whatever. It makes no difference. It doesn't make any difference. 2013 or 2014, it's not going to change anything. He had a sister in suburb of Belgrade, whatever that was. I said maybe that was Pančevo, maybe it was somewhere else, who knows. They had some houses. You're talking about the smaller houses. I can recall all through nothing. Something similar to this here with a smaller fields, more housing present, but something like this. Where I was brought since 1995. Hijacked traffic from United States of America through Slovenia, literally brought to Serbia, with idea to, I don't know what type of expression properly would be used, but to create Serb out of me. The idea was for me to marry a Serbian woman to change myself through the brainwash into a Serb. I'm going to repeat to you, for 11 and a half consecutive years between 1995 and August of 2006, I have not exited the United States of America on other than 3 occasions to South America, of which native also Ecuadorian, Indian Ecuadorian, was my ex-wife. On 3 occasions I did go down there to visit her parents, but reality is that I was all over the world, and such was the reality in respect to this case. This stuff repeated. His daughter was growing up, and eventually saw the day when she was old enough to join her forces with the father. They enthusiastically wanted me to become her groom, her husband. Huge age difference. I remained non-interested. They had me all over this organization, the ERASED of Slovenia. They had me all over this organization, Slovenian government. This was my case manager in Slovenia, this guy here. In Serbia, my case manager was Karadzic, till he was taken away. In Slovenia, this guy here was my case manager. That's what they thought, that they are case managers of somebody, basically owners of the torture. And it's going to be accordingly with their appetite, according to their taste. And it's something I refuse and will continue to refuse. I lost 28 years of my life in a process, also because of this, which main idea was to destroy natives of Slovenia. Just as Mr. Milan Kučan have stated me, you do not exist, is what his words were to me. You do not exist. You only exist on a national register, contrary to the people I mentioned here, erased. The erased were people that were not entered into a national registry, into a national register. they were generalized, thrown in the same group of people, regardless of what they have done, and not only of who these people were, but literally using this case, they brainwash the people that they have to stand together because in Yugoslavia everything is just better. Simultaneously, cleansing in Slovenia took place, which they have substituted, contrary to Croatian and Bosnian minority, mainly with the Serbs, which official numbers stopped in 2002 with the number of around 50,000 or so. And in 2016, proudly, with one of the Serbs claiming in Slovenia to have to be already to exist already about 10% of the population as Serbian. So it was a mass exodus of native Slovenes, through economic cleansing, substituted with Serbs, which at the same time departed Serbia at large in a vast numbers. Maybe the biggest surprise that comes about this group of people that claimed was, and as I stated, not everybody is in the same group of people as this man here was or is. Not everybody acted with idea to create here big Serbia from this the erased people. People, however, needed jobs. They needed a way to survive. And with a people like this at the top of the government, there is really nothing anyone possibly could do about it, because they get it done their way, through the jobs, through employment, through many other issues, which involved also healthcare in Slovenia, national healthcare system through which these people still operated. Therefore, remnants of failed Yugoslav regime remained inside of the healthcare system, and also in many companies. Surprisingly, maybe the most is the issue I have mentioned already here earlier. This is the most disappointing issue right here, because the biggest support they obtained, better than lawyer support, they obtained from these people right here. It was better than lawyer, because this people here, they literally block you from even submitting complaint, so that somebody will take one in hands, go over, read over, learn about what's going on, and take steps. These people take pride basically in owning not only Amnesty International but also United Nations, and to have a severe impact on European Union Court, impact big enough through their connections to block institution from any development in a direction of targeted individual. I must say, these people blocked me from earning any income on the internet, and includes advertisement, for no less than 28 years. Since I started doing my stuff on the internet in 2008, I've not seen a single cent deposited either to my bank account, PayPal account, whatever account, anywhere, ever. And did go as far as blocking my view counters to discredit me in eyes of the world as much as possible. I just need you to understand the severity of this problem. In this case here, they demanded from me to reveal partially the issue behind this man here, only partially, to not touch any issues in respect to the daughter, which was concerned about what exactly the case would bring about once her father already perished. And according to her, father perished. It's time for me to make another MK Ultra claim. Her father met me in 2014 also. He was in a big hurry. It was a very, very bad thing that happened. He committed something worse. I don't know what it was. It was a serious crime, so I was told, and he was in a big hurry. He needed to get out of Slovenia per ASAP. The title here reads that they found one dead. That means the police issued one a death certificate. Fact of the matter, however, is the man took off from Slovenia to Belgrade. He disappeared thanks to Slovenian authorities and would meet me still in 2014, 2015. However, in Belgrade, in Serbia, was the last time that this guy met me. Angry, bitter, because he was trying to break my will down for no less than 20 years from giving up being what I took my pride in life. Basically, they tried to dehumanize me through the torture for no less than 20 years, involving me in psychiatry, no longer only forced unemployment, if that's not enough. Torture, death repeatedly would go. Bring my state of mind on a brink of sanity, on a brink of ability to even return myself back into normal world. Such were the sessions during which they would not allow to sleep for up to a week, have you travel throughout the world, meet people who death threatened, engaged in beatings, psychological abuse. And in 2015, man gave up on me, claiming me I'll never see one again. This was the last time. While he still participated whenever they brought me to Belgrade, I felt his presence and got a glimpse of him. And I recalled who this man was. He remained on a distance, completely changed, never aggressive again with me. However, well, in Belgrade, alive, not dead, as Slovenian authorities have pronounced on us. Police did. It was also that he did not disappear from Slovenia. They claim he committed suicide. It's also that he did not disappear from Slovenia because of me, as his daughter claimed. His daughter claimed that he disappeared because of me. And that's what these people from London also claimed, that I have to be really nice because I can destroy her, and so on and so forth. And she claimed that the thing will come out and she wants to remain in Slovenia, and if I will give the whole truth out, she's going to be forced to go to Serbia, which she's not a fan of. She's a fan of Serbia and Slovenia, but she definitely prefers Slovenia. While at the same time they have speculated about a foreign employment, lucrative foreign employment as well. So I don't know what it was, this or was that the main issue on the table in front of me. These people again covered up huge crime, not only against me, but the people of Slovenia, on behalf of this man here. So they again covered up, they again did the favor. They again have seen themselves rather as part of what you see here than people of this country, than people of Croatia, than people of Bosnia, than people of other parts of ex-Yugoslavia, which is a pity. It's a shame. It comes from the royalties, Western royalties from London, whom I have always had nothing other than respect. At least so it was until 2015. That's for bloody 20 years of torture. More than long enough. I kept silent about their ordeals, about their share of problem. I didn't want to bring one here, but it was already a problem to begin with, because of which the problem here commenced. This man lost entirely his support, his credibility upon the fall of Yugoslavia, and truly was thanks to this case, to this MK Ultra case, to these people here from London, that they raised one literally from death. They brought one back from nothing on a political stage and gave one ability for a politic of intolerance, hatred, with which he manipulated since this little nation in Slovenia. I wouldn't know anything else to say in respect to this. I think it's too far they allow themselves to go. I think it's a little bit too far to meddle in my personal life. I have the right to my homeland. Everybody does, don't you think so? The tragedy these people depicted, the tragedy they depicted for her, is unreal, is fake, it's a folly, it's a lie. She alone tortured. And it offers a gleam reality on the world from perspective of someone who opposed to the people who were not entered inside a national registry, not issued state IDs, however in many cases assisted with accommodations, lodging, apartments, discounted cost of housing, real estate I should say, employment, many of which were not even deleted, managed to enter the country. Therefore many, it was all kinds of stuff. Slovenian state had documentation in respect to every case, but they decided to simply discriminate against certain people for the benefit of others who wanted to start the war. For the sake of portion of the population who wanted to create coup d'etat in Slovenia. Portion of the population who was to become brainwashed or substituted with a pro-Serbian population so they could join forces together in hope for the next Balkan war against remaining Bosnia and Croatia. which still separates Slovenia and Serbia. So it's regretful that people like this rather see themselves in a even in a failed royalties who reside with them in London. This was the king, the failed king of kingdom of Serbs, Croats, Slovenes, and it's a pity that London, Windsors, Battenbergers, Romanovs hope these people would return. It's a pity these people see them as more valuable than people, I'm gonna say. That's why this conflict, to begin with, commenced against Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, and so on and so forth. It's a pity that we have a majesties like this in London. I cannot agree with. These are major violators of the human rights, and I condemn them with everything I have. They are indifferent from war criminals who stood the crimes at international human rights tribunals in Hague. They were overly aggressive, overly pushing nose, using me as a tool to destroy my own people, disregarding international treaties in respect to torture, human trafficking, and I'm going to say, unfortunately, with a Central Intelligence Agency, with the Federal Bureau Investigations assistance, of which country I became natural citizen in year 2000. I'm asking you for help here. This is a bigger problem than what it appeared for almost 3 decades, possibly could be, but results of this problem can clearly be seen today in Ukraine. That's where the 10 million people already fled their homes, next to numerous dead. I don't have anything else to say. I'm going to outline in this video, because I am using this as MK Ultra proof information, that this man in Slovenia lived again, whether that was Ptuj, I think it was Ptuj, it appears that it was Ptuj. To tell you the truth, I had a big problem when they were asking me whether he lives in Ptuj or Ljubljana. It appears he lives in a Ptuj. When you are drugged up, unfortunately, you don't run around with the map in your hands, with the GPS, conversing, asking people questions, but you're just a subject to the certain brainwash, certain operation they want you to pursue, because they control you. You don't control anything. Lived in a housing that was like a very small houses, in front of which it was a larger apartment complex area, where with whom also I would commute myself to the mother whom he had divorced, therefore his wife, his ex-wife, to visit the daughter, and then with the daughter to him once she grew up enough that she eventually was capable to handle me under MK Ultra. I was extremely passive, non-aggressive under MK Ultra. Under no circumstances would I lay hands on any girl or something like this, child or whatever, woman even. And I'm using as a second option what I already have stated you gave you a little description about area of Belgrade where he originally is from. He had a sister over there. The housing, I clearly can sketch one. I can make a sketch of it about this housing. This was several houses. It's like a little settlement, and this settlement was somewhere near Belgrade, on suburb of Belgrade. A sister he had there. Whatever they're gonna do with him, this man is probably still alive and well. I'll probably have to, whatever they will do, this is none of my business. I'm using this as MK Ultra proof, and that's all I wanted to accomplish with this issue. Now I'm gonna take a date and time in Slovenian language. There is much more other stuff I have included inside, but for this matter here, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a date and time. They took me to her even when she traveled abroad and so on and so forth. They were investing in her good amounts of money to make her as international, as appealing to international community as would become some kind of an international human rights warrior or something like this. I don't want to know about it. I'm going to tell you frankly, I don't want to know about it. Here's the date and time. That's all there is to it. I don't want to sound cruel. The cruelty you might see that's coming from me right now is literally deriving from a director of the psychiatric clinic, from the psychiatrists from Ljubljana Polje who death threatened me if I would dare to exercise this kind of attitude. They were not the only one. She death threatened me too. Inside of this house, inside of this family housing house in Novo Mesto, however, house of my parents, she took a different tone. It was my life will end if you're going to take this type of, and you know, my life was destroyed contrary to these people who were not entered in a national registry. In 2013, therefore, after Mr. Milan Kuchan told me how I will not be erased from national registry, however, in reality, I would not exist, would not have the right to, nor to employment, not to health care. In fact, health services were used to cause me great harm, one of the greatest harms. Second, exactly to forced unemployment. In 2013, however, this man had another diagnosis for my life outcome. He stated me once institutionalized on lies, based on lies against me. He obtained through the police, through judicial system in Slovenia, through Supreme Court, Slovenian Supreme Court, that I'm actually dead buried already, that I'm a man, a dead man walking. So there were two types of titles he gave me. The first title was that I only exist contrary to these people who did not obtain state-issued IDs, that I only exist in national registry. And the second title he gave me, upon psychiatric institutionalization inside of the Ljubljana hospital, he gave me and I'm a dead, walking, buried alive man. That's why you have to understand that these people don't play. Even with a smile on the face, even with what you see here, she stated, for the father even, she states here very unclearly, she states, they took everything from him and then they took him even more. But doesn't have a guts. She only had a guts when she talked to me under MK Ultra, when she threatened to me, if you will say something like this, then I will tell the whole truth. Doesn't have a guts to state what she stated. She will state that she has no doubts it was a suicide, unless I'm gonna take this kind of attitude, and that's, I'm taking time now for me to explain to you why I'm taking this kind of attitude. She told me about the articles they're gonna come out, both articles, about the two articles. This was the article that was released just a few days ago, on July the 17th of 2022. Right now is July the 23rd of 2022. So therefore she went ahead and she conditioned me. If you're going to tell the truth, the title that states they took him everything in life and then they took him even more instigates obviously that he was murdered. And it was a claim to me under MK Ultra. Under MK Ultra, she claimed me he was murdered because of me. And if I would dare to say what I said, what I stated to you, she would go ahead forward and tell the whole thing, just exactly what I did to her family and so on and so forth. Well, so that's why I'm taking this kind of attitude. This looks like a young girl, innocent girl. Everything looks beautiful, is smiling, is a social warrior, human rights warrior supported by the human rights agencies and so on. But actually this is a wolf. Wolf with the support, with the full support of psychiatry, police, Slovenian judiciary system. And foremost even these people here from London who did the very bad stuff. People who threatened me, conditioned me on how, based on what I will say about, what I will have to say about her, is how they're going to see my case, even see me as cruel. These are the cruelest people in the world. There's nobody more cruel than beasts that reside inside of the Buckingham Palace. Windsors, Battenbergers, Romanos from London. There is no beasts in this world worse than the beasts in London. So for me, important to declare, for you to understand why I am taking a point, such a rigid point against this. These people caused genocide, ethnic cleansing on Balkans. Go ahead and Google Srebrenica and Vukovar and see, not only for these two, death and devastation they caused to other nations as their plan, just as they tried to do in Kosovo, where they were committed to killing of the people 10 years ahead. And it's why the federation have fallen apart, because it became too obvious about what went on inside of this jail of the nation known as Yugoslavia. They had idea, they had intents also to do with us here in Slovenia, with this little nation here of 2 million. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time.